Hey everybody, welcome to Eternal Brews. My name is Pojo, and today we're going to be looking at a new twist on an old favorite. This is Invocation Impossible, a new take on the Momentous Occasion deck, where instead of focusing around spells, we're going to be focusing around big relics and fairly scary attachments with Great-Kiln Titan to sort of bind everything together. This is a deck that has been evolving a little bit as Fall of Argenport has come along, and we've been really delighted with how it's been playing and how much fun it's been. It's a little bit more consistent than the Momentous Occasion list, and it's really just a lot of fun to play. So I thought I'd show it off and we'd talk a little bit about it. So the basic idea behind this deck is that we have multiple different sources of cheating. We are going to be using Invoke the Waystones, a 6-cost card that plays the top card of your deck after discarding the top 4, and then also creates and draws copies of itself. We have Great-Kiln Titan, a card that plays the top card of your deck at the end of turn, and we have Birthright, a card that plays the top card of each player's deck at the start of each player's turn. This card is not actually good, but it is a lot of fun, and it is a big relic, which kind of matters for what we're trying to do this time around. So the basic idea here is that we are going to be playing these cards we're going to be ramping to these cards, and then every time that we can play them, we're going to get ourselves a ton of card advantage by playing consistently large units off the board and constantly playing as many things as we can off the board to get the maximum amount of value out of our deck. So it's really fun. There's a lot of silly stuff. We'll talk about all the silly stuff at the top first, and then we'll talk about the bottom and how that sort of binds the deck together and keeps it alive. Okay, so at the top, the main thing that we're looking for here is large relics, because Great-Kiln Titan, when it plays the top card of your deck, anytime it plays a relic or anytime you play a relic, it also deals damage equal to its cost to an enemy. So if we play 6 to 7 cost relics, then we can kill all of our opponent's big mid-range stuff. That clears the way for our Titans to attack, and it also just gives us a huge amount of advantage. We can kill people very quickly by playing large relics, and so Great-Kiln Titan into relics is one of the big ways to win this game. Our relics for the game are Claw of the First Dragon, a 4/4 for 7 that I really love. This card is really good at stabilizing you in a situation where you have just finished your ramp, because it kills a mid-range unit and creates 4 chump blockers, which is really good for messing up your opponent's day and making it very hard for them to get through. You can get some bad draws off of this, knife jacks. You can also get some really good draws like the 3/1 Overwhelm or the Initiative Sands. Like, you can get all sorts of cool stuff off of this card. Flying blockers, many different interesting things are available. But overall, I like this card quite a bit from just the amount of blockers that it makes and the way that it stabilizes the board, which most big things don't generally do. So this is kind of a really cool in-between card. We have another card that stabilizes the board that isn't a legendary, and you can actually run multiples of these as replacements for claws. I'm currently running 3, but you can run 4 of them if you like. Improvised Rubbler is a 5/5 relic weapon that was introduced pretty recently, and it plays 2 1/1 Grenadin, which is real important. As a Dusk Road card, I'd say this card, yeah, this is really fun. Like, the Grenadin are less useful than the Claws abilities, but they are immediate, and it gives you a little bit more health, which can be useful against some control lists. It also gives you a little bit more attack, which can be useful against certain targets that you wouldn't otherwise be able to kill. There are some pretty good 5 health units out there that are pretty worth killing, so good stuff. Finally, we have Temporal Distortion, a card that gives all of our spells fast speed and replenishes our power at the start of the enemy turn. This is a great way to play all of our big stuff early and then play Invoke the Waystones on the enemy turn, allowing us to ambush out more Great-Kiln Titans and Heart of the Vaults and do really ridiculous shenanigans. It's also the only 8 damage card off of a Lava Blood Goliath that you can get, which may or may not be useful. You tell me. I like this card quite a bit in the deck, but it's not necessary or required. You do want one of them for most control lists, so it's a worthy craft if you feel like it. Okay, the Heart of the Vault and Great-Kiln Titan are the 2 really key cards in the deck. They do the most work for the deck as far as things go. And then beyond that, we also have Jawbone Greatsword, a 4-cost relic that creates and draws an 8/6 Brand Without Fear. This is another unnecessary craft, but I do like it as a sort of mid-rangey removal card. We're going to be trying this out and seeing how it feels. So yeah, if you get Brand off of it, great, because Invoke the Waystones will very frequently pitch our 26 units into the void, enabling tribute and allowing us to do some pretty cool stuff. So we'll see exactly how well that ends up happening. Alright, so unit-wise, we have Teacher of Humility, which plays disciplinary weights on the enemy player. This one is not required. You can use Bren or Find the Way if you want to make sure that you have a cheaper version of this list. I like this card because it's a little good for early game type stuff, and it really helps out in that front. And it's just a good card for making sure that your opponents have kind of issues in aggro and issues in control. Gives us a few more 2-drops to play so that we don't get completely blown out by aggro, which at the end of the month when I am recording this is really happening quite a bit. Temple Scribe is another card specifically designed to keep aggro away, give us card advantage, and make it easier to draw into our power. Every card here is designed to either ramp us, draw into our power, or in some way help us like get to the bigger stuff. Even Teacher of Humility at least draws us a card if it hits something, and we really want to draw cards constantly because the main goal of this deck, and what you should be looking for with every Crest and every Seek that you play, is to draw more power. Don't look for your bombs. Your bombs will always come to you. Just make sure that you have enough power to cast cards and enough influence to cast cards like Heart of the Vault. Alright, Aurelian Merchant gets us a pile of really cool stuff. This card is bread and butter for this list and has really improved the list's win rate overall. Because it is a ramp card that gets us to 6 very easy, it's very good at defending against aggro, and the market ability means that we have tip-top answers to basically anything that really troubles us. We don't like big flyers in this deck, so Sandstorm Scarf and Passage of Eons both really help solve that problem. Predatory Carnosaur is a card that we often wish that we could run, and this card allows us to occasionally get the better of mid-range lists and build tempo without having to be quite as greedy as most of our other 6-drops are, so it's a decent pickup in the middle. Novaquake Titan is the outgreed card that allows us to draw a ton of cards and also silence and blow up the entire board. This is great in the mirror. It's great in any situation where basically you just have a ton of Titans and you really want to get everything out of the way so that you can attack in and kill face. I really like this card as a play, and it's very easy to play off of Great-Kiln Titan, so this is a pretty fun one to pick up. And finally we have a Combre Banner, often the most common pick off of Aurelian Merchant because consistent power rules in this deck. It's absolutely crucial, so we really like that there. Finally, in the middle, we have Lumen Attendant and Lumen Reclaimer. Both of these cards are here to make sure that we don't run out of threats. Lumen Reclaimer is the card that, of course, allows us to completely reshuffle after invoking over and over again. It also can shuffle up our deck for other reasons, or shuffle up our opponent's deck for other reasons to prevent void-based strategies or do other interesting shenanigans. Overall, this card's pretty strong. We want to have at least one copy, and we usually want to bottom it with a Crest so that we know exactly where in our deck it is, and we can invoke to it or draw it off the top once we are running low on cards, which sometimes happens in this deck because this deck is full of shenanigans. Lumen Attendant is here to get Lumen Reclaimer in case we accidentally pitch it. It's also here to get any other card that we might want. Great-Kiln Titan, Heart of the Vault, anything like that. We can draw it with Lumen Reclaimer while creating a second blocker and keeping ourselves fairly healthy. So we like this card pretty okay. You can also use Excavate in this slot if you feel like it. That's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and play some games and show off how it works. It's a lot of fun, so yeah, it's going to be a delightful time. Alright, here we are up against someone whose name I cannot pronounce, but we got 2 Seats of Impulse, we got Temple Scribe. Overall, I'm not really too fond of this hand. I want to draw something with a little bit more oomph to it. Aurelian Merchant would be really helpful, but I want to make sure that I can actually play cards, so yeah, this looks a little bit better. Crest of Impulse seems like the obvious lead. We want to continue to look for power, just make sure that we have constant power available, and then that way we can play all of our other stuff and get really good benefits out of it. I don't need to play Trailmaker right away, and I probably won't, seeing as this is a Shadow deck and it has Vara's Favor pretty frequently, so we'll just play a second Crest. Claw of the First Dragon is a nice top end, but not so nice that I'm actually going to go for it. I'd much rather have Heart of the Vault or something that costs 6, so let's go ahead and pick that up. That feels pretty good. And now I've got Seat of Impulse plus Temple Scribe. Trailmaker would get me to 6 on the next turn, so we'll wait until that turn to play it, and then we will play it, get our ramp, and hopefully play our Heart of the Vault. Maybe we'll see that Vara's Favor right now. Nope. Looks like that's a no.
This'll do the trick.
But I can Trailmaker for Justice, which I need for a New Tomorrow, a 10-cost card that'll allow us to play basically all of our Lava Bloods and Invokes into just the best possible things. So we make sure that we have that just in case. Huru Banner looks pretty good. Extract, not particularly surprised to see that. Trailmaker is not usually along for this world, and you can use a Power Stone to make it a little bit easier, but it's nice to actually have it as a blocker so that we can slowly play out our cards. In this type of deck, it's probably not bad to just play the Amber Waystone and get the life, but most of the time you save that so that you have like a bit of a surprise in a race situation. My opponent appears to be playing pretty spell-less stuff. Gonna hit my Heart of the Vault. I'm not super in love with that, but you know, sometimes you get rained. Okay, so we have less gas in our deck than we did originally. Wait, okay. I think that's wrong. Just the Improvised Rubbler is not as dangerous as Heart of the Vault. And Heart of the Vault does a lot more, so I think we're pretty satisfied to just go ahead and play that out. Shuffling Destiny Frogs back into my deck will be nice. I don't need to do that immediately. I could hold off on Lumen Reclaimer, or I could keep it in my hand for a little bit. We'll see exactly what we want to do. I'm not surprised to see Slay, or to see him have like any amount of actual removal in here. There's Great-Kiln Titan, which is a pretty good turn 8, I would say. And now that we've got 3 cards here, maybe we play Lumen Reclaimer and shuffle Heart back in.
Your time is far from ended.
I think I like this, since if Lumen Reclaimer dies for any reason, we get extra copies of it, which will make it easier. And also, I've got a Heart and a Destiny Frog. Well, I don't have a Destiny Frog, but I have a decent amount of options available. Also, I really wanted to coax that Harsh Roll out, because if we can actually get that, then Great-Kiln Titan feels a lot better. So here's Great-Kiln. Temporal Distortion deals 8 to the enemy. He's got a face Aegis, but I'm still really happy to have that Temporal Distortion. And now I can play Torches whenever I want. Alright, what's he got? Death Strike? Not a big surprise to see him have answers to the Great-Kiln Titan. I'm hoping to draw an Invoke pretty soon, get something better. Lumen Reclaimer can shuffle the Titan back in if I want to, which might be worth it. I gotta be a little bit careful about how many Lumen Reclaimers I'm running, but yeah, another 4/4 seems pretty reasonable. Let's go ahead and play that out. Shuffle things back up. See what else we got in the deck. So ideally we want to like attack in here. Jawbone Greatsword getting the Lumen Reclaimer feels pretty good. I'm very glad to see that Duelist's Blade gone, because that's a pretty rough card to be dealing with in general. And we'll see. I've got 8 Lumen Reclaimers in the deck now, which means I'm pretty likely to draw them, which is not my favorite thing in the world, but we'll probably see if we can get something good. There we go. Play a fire. And just sitting tight, waiting for our gas. There's plenty of it in the deck, including some Heart of the Vaults. Okay, he gets to resurface here. The question is for what? Channel the Tempest seems like a pretty likely call if he's got that kind of stuff. If he wants to go for a Warp card, that's also a possibility. This is a pretty slow deck overall. We'll see if it ends up running everything that it actually wants to run. Another Lumen Reclaimer. Okay, I don't really need to play that, so let's just attack for 1. Jawbone Greatsword feels like a pretty good play, but isn't required here and probably not necessary. I kind of feel like torching my own 1/1 to play a Greatsword, since I know that my opponent doesn't seem to be playing a lot of units. But I don't think it's strictly necessary here, and I'd rather have something to kill a large relic weapon, so. Interesting. So he resurfaced to Burglarize to steal my Temporal Distortion. That's going to make things a little bit harder for me. Can't say that there's a lot of things that I like about that particular play, but at least I have Claw of the First Dragon, which I can knock him in the face with. He was very afraid of my 5/5 Relic Weapon, so I'm guessing he's going to have some problems with my 4/4 Relic Weapon. And we're not going to give him a lot of time to play Temporal Distortion. Cool, there goes a Harsh Rule. I've got 4 here. Pretty easy peasy. Lumen Reclaimer can pop the Aegis on my opponent for double torches, but we don't have to do that right now. Okay, knocking my Claw in the face. Gets me a bunch of 1/1s. Some pretty good ones even. Rambot's particularly fun. Let's go ahead and start my turn. And there's an Invoke the Waystones, which is another card that I really, really like. I would say that invoking here feels pretty good. I do have... Yeah, if I play a power, I think I just have lethal. So we'll invoke first.
The Waystones hold great power.
Got a power, which is ideal. It's a depleted power, which isn't perfect, but that's okay. Frog with Destiny seems fine to stay on top. And now I can draw if I want to, but the correct answer is to attack here. Get ourselves a 5/1 Frog with Destiny. And I don't want to pop with Lumen Reclaimer and do my Torch run here, so let's go ahead and just draw. And discard... I don't know. Lumen Reclaimer is not bad. Could discard the Torch, could discard the Greatsword, could discard the Froggo. I actually didn't think about this quite as well as I wanted to. Lumen Reclaimer is still sort of the answer that I need, but I can also use Jawbone and Greatsword to do the same job. So let's go ahead and say... I actually think I discard the Lumen Reclaimer here. Cool. Okay, so now I've got Jawbone, Greatsword, I've got a double Torch, and I have Invoke and Temple Scribe, so we're feeling pretty good about life. He's got to spend probably his entire turn harsh ruling this board, so I think we feel pretty good about how that works.
This ends now.
No particular surprises there. Why don't we throw the first Torch just to get the Aegis off? Jawbone, Greatsword plus Torch is not quite lethal, but we can invoke.
The Waystones hold great power.
Which then gets us Aurelian Merchant, not bad.
Customer.
I'll trade a Seed of Impulse for... Passage of Eons is pretty good since my opponent's going to be trying to play Temporal Distortion pretty soon. Combre Banner's nice because it gets me extra power, which I can then use to play Jawbone Greatsword. Sandstorm Scarf is unreasonably bad, and Novaquake Titan doesn't do anything. So I think Passage of Eons is where we want to be. Now we just play Temple Scribe.
Right here.
Found another Torch. I guess we'll throw this one. Get that damage going, and see what we can do. There's Temporal Distortion. Why don't we just Passage of Eons right now?
You don't want to make my allies your enemies.
Jawbone Greatsword. How many different options does he have? If he has a Lightning Strike, that's pretty good. These two attack, and that probably gets the harsh rule.
You made it personal.
Or just an in cold blood. Temple Scribe for lethal. Alright, feels pretty good. That was a goofy deck, but ours was goofier. Alright, here we are up against the Carlomancer. I mulliganed into this hand and forgot to actually hit record before that happened, so we'll see, I'm going to go ahead and play the Praxis banner here since Seed of Impulse plays off on 2, getting me a Temple Scribe and then an Aurelian Merchant into whatever I like. So, feeling pretty good about life as far as things go. I'm going to take a quick swig of water here because I forgot to. My opponent hasn't played a card yet, and doesn't appear to be playing any cards, so we'll see if he's AFK. That'll make this a very quick recording. Nope, there he is. Crest of Mystery. So we got some Xenon going on. That generally means slower control to mid-range, so that's something that we really excel at fighting. It gets pretty stally at some times if he has a lot of big stuff, but we can do a lot with this, and the deck is traditionally slow enough that we are able to take advantage of it. So we're going to go ahead and play out the Seed of Impulse, play the Temple Scribe, and just get ourselves moving. Another Seed of Impulse feels pretty good. Can play that on Aurelian Merchant, and then get anything that I really want. A good 6-drop seems pretty good. I've got all the power I need at the moment, but it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit more ramp. Discarding an Excavate for a Secret Pages. So this is a Life Forcey deck.
A customer.
Temple Scribe is pretty solid here. I like Crest of Glory as well. I think what I want to do is probably trade out the... Yeah, let's trade the Temple Scribe, because I can't trade the Time Sigil or the Crest. I'd like both of those effects to be around. Passage of Eons silences things, which is pretty useful. Carnosaur is probably going to be the most straight on top of things that we want to be. That just gives us a nice 6-drop to play instead of Invoke if we want to get control of the board. If we don't want to get control of the board, then we just Invoke and we start looking for big stuff, and that's also a really good option. So, my opponent's got next card. We'll see what that ends up being. At the moment, I don't know what his deck does, except gain a lot of life. Looks like it might trigger some tributes. Corendon Merchant getting thrown in the void. What's the tribute in time? Grave Tender? Could be kind of drafty. We'll see what ends up happening here. I'm guessing that this is like a Katra deck, but I don't know what the chairman's contract is for. Some sort of tribute has to be here, or some sort of interesting like resurrection-based strategy. Maybe he's doing a lot of dark returning and trying to get back a really, really nasty card. Getting the Corendon Merchant means he's probably got whatever that card is, so let's get a move on, make sure that we can actually get something good out of this. Jawbone Greatsword feels like a pretty good pickup. I don't really need it at this point since I've got basically everything that I do want, but it wouldn't be awful here. I think that I will probably go ahead and say keep that. We'll draw that, and then we'll play Invoke the Waystones or Predatory Carnosaur if we see something big. If we lose our Aurelian Merchant on this turn, then we get to play Jawbone Greatsword instead. Aha! Aha! It's the memes. Alright. I think we can work with this. We currently have 26 health, so as long as we don't take any more, I think we'll be okay. Let's go ahead and play Invoke the Waystones right now.
The Waystones hold great power.
You're a sad bunch.
Alright, Teacher of Humility off the top, not too bad. We're certainly looking for something bigger. What got thrown in the void? There's a Claw and a Secret Pages, a Torch, Praxis banner as well. It's good to keep track of this, make sure that you haven't lost your Lumen Reclaimers or anything like that. If you lose the Lumen Reclaimer and you lose the Lumen Attendant, then you probably should be a little bit more cautious about what you're using the Invokes with. Heart of the Vault is always correct off the top, so definitely play that. Improvised Rubbler looks great, and let's go ahead and attack with just the 3/3.
Take this!
Nailed it, and go ahead and play Time Sigil here, just get a little bit more ramp out. We're looking pretty good. I've got 9 damage here, plus like a bunch of 1/1s. Stray into Shadow certainly wipes out a bunch of stuff and reduces my ramp a little bit, but it's not like I have any Invoke the Waystones issues. We always crest after invoking, so unless I'm going to play this Justice and play the big expensive Invoke, which is possible, I think what I want to do here is just Invoke and then crest.
The Waystones hold great power.
Another Claw goes in. There's Great-Kiln Titan. That's what I want to see. And with Crest of Progress, I can sort the top of my deck and get the best possible card. That's not the best possible card. That is, though. Alright. Good stuff. Alright, here we are up against Sanji TPS. And opening hand would be great if it had power in it, but it doesn't, so not so much. This is a little bit more on the nose. Crest of Impulse into Temple Scribe is kind of the plays we want to see. We want to get to extra power. We want to get everything out that we can, and getting the Aurelian Merchant is also a really big pickup. Teacher of Humility is nice early, but I'm going to be playing Temple Scribe, Aurelian Merchant, and then hopefully trying to get something big out. So let's actually toss that and see if we can do a little bit better. Opponent's playing a little bit of Praxis. Go ahead and play a Time here and a Temple Scribe. And yeah, now we can Aurelian Merchant or we can Secret Pages, either of which are really good options. We want to get the extra fire for Great-Kiln Titan, or Heart of the Vault. And if we get that, then we feel pretty happy about our lives. So yeah, this is all pretty good. I'm going to use Aurelian Merchant to trade away this Improvised Rubbler. And we will grab a Combre banner, most likely, since getting the 6th power would be very beneficial. Predatory Carnosaur is fine. Sandstorm Scarf is not very useful against a Praxis deck. Passage of Eons is usually useful against a Praxis deck, as is Novaquake and Carnosaur. I actually really like Carnosaur against Sandstorm Titans, so we might pick this up instead, especially since we're pretty likely to have 6 power. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and grab the Carnosaur here. That'll give us a good proofing against Sandstorm Titan and get us establishing moment that'll actually get us into a much better situation. Amber Waystone plays, then Trailmaker plays to get us fire, and then we can Secret Pages to get the last time that we need for Invoke the Waystones. Or we can have that Invoke the Waystones already, so let's lead Trailmaker here, play the time first, play the Amber Waystone, gain the 2 life, and then we can Secret Pages for fire, or for Justice if that's the case. But yeah, here it's going to be fire, because I wanted to get that 2 life. Alright, and then that's good for me. I feel pretty good about how things went. We could have waited until end of turn to use the Secret Pages, but it's not going to matter too much. Praxis is going to play big, slow, mid-range stuff, so we aren't too worried about fast spells or holding up a possible trick. Okay. Claw of the First Dragon seems like the most appropriate card here, seeing as my opponent's still playing in the low end. So if we just Claw, we can kill this Aurelian Merchant. Maybe eat a torch as well and make a huge board. Oh, double torching. Alright, well.
Just keep digging.
Now I've got some charge units that I can beat in with. This 1-2 seems like a really good attack, since that's very easy to attack with. Nothing wrong with attacking with Aurelian Merchant at this point, since I've got plenty of power, and the 1-1 doesn't trade in because that's just not a really good attack. So let's just get our point of damage, and we can Lumen Attendant to get Claw back if we want to, or we can try our luck with Carnosaur or Invoke. Gain a bunch of life, feeling pretty good. Where's our opponent at? He's got an assembly line, so Carnosaur was the wrong call. I'd say this is more a rally-based deck. At this point, I think what I really want to do is play Lumen Attendant and get that Claw back, because it looks like my opponent's trying to overwhelm me with tokens, and that's just not going to fly. Let's go ahead and play the Lumen Attendant. I will activate it. I will probably discard maybe even Carnosaur here. Yeah, let's discard Carnosaur here, grab the Claw, and then play the Amber Waystone and the Temple Scribe. And I am not hurting for tokens, so we feel pretty good about our chances against any sort of Xenon Obelisk or rally-based play. There's my Great-Kiln Titan. That's the most important card here, so we're pretty happy to see that. And we'll just go ahead and play that out right now, unless we want to do a Claw of the First Dragon play and try and kill this 3-2, which I do actually kind of like. I think Great-Kiln is correct, though. It's better to save the Claw until after we get the Great-Kiln. Secret Pages is very useful here, but I think I want Passage of Eon so I can destroy the Xenon Obelisk and silence the rest of the stuff. Or Novaquake Titan, because Novaquake Titan. I actually like Novaquake Titan here quite a bit. Let's do that. Jack Hunted Fugitive is down and ready. I've got Novaquake Titan, so we're going to do that. Sacrifice the Amaran Shoveler. It's kind of nice to get Sentinels or Relics. I think that actually is a good card. So let's go ahead and sacrifice the Iceberg Frontrunner. Alright, everything's silenced. Everything's back in his hand. That's a lot of 1-1s that he's going to have to replay. I also think he has to discard some cards immediately. I could be wrong about that one. We get to punch him, though. Temple Scribe is not a relic or a sentinel, but Great-Kiln Titan is. Sacrifice the 1-1 here. And, yeah, we feel pretty good. A Sandstorm Titan into a Grenadin is not going to do it. Let's go ahead and use Claw of the First Dragon to kill that, and, actually, let's use Claw of the First Dragon to kill our opponent. Yeah, that's the kind of fun that we're after. Really, really good times. Alright, that'll does it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. I believe last time we showed off a blue version of this deck, and and tonight is no different. This version of the deck is designed to abuse Birthright a little bit more. So if you have more than 2 copies of the card, you can put it in this list. What we're trying to do here is play some more mid-rangey stuff like Spectre Arena of Kosul and Scourge of Frostome at the top, so we can lock our opponent out of particular types of cards and then try to force them to play those cards with Birthright, preventing them from actually getting the triggers that they want. In addition, just playing a Scourge of Frostome off of the top is pretty good stuff. This deck's pretty fun to play. I messed around with it a bit. Blue versions of this deck always amuse me, but they're not quite as reliable, so be a little bit careful with this one. It's definitely it's definitely a little bit jankier than even the one that we were playing previously. So regardless, I will be back with more Brews soon. We're working on Eternal Basics number 4, the remake, so that should be out hopefully as soon as we can get work done on it. And yeah, we're looking at lots of new cool stuff, so feel free to subscribe if you feel like it. And regardless, I will see you next time with more Eternal Brews. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a really good night. Cheers.